Humble inquiry. This is a technique, this one's my absolute favorite book lately, is Humble Inquiry, because I found that this book, at the end of my first year of grad school, changed my life. I flipped from from making statements in my executive staff meetings. I just changed and started asking questions. The trick with Humble Inquiry is ask a question that you sincerely do not know the answer to. That's the trick. And ask it without an agenda. That's harder to do than you think. If you're like me, I come into every situation like I've got an idea, I've got an agenda, I'm ready to go in there and get it done. And Humble Inquiry, that book, teaches you how to drop your agenda and how to truly listen to the other person. It's very disarming. Like the principle of nonviolent communication. How many people have heard of Marshall Rosenberg and nonviolent communication? Anybody? A couple people? The principle of nonviolent communication is choosing your words and your style of delivery carefully so that it communicates the subtext, I will not harm you. So this was the most harmless picture I could find on the internet. I will not harm you is the principle of humble inquiry, and you genuinely really want to know. There's something else hooked to that. Conversational intelligence is a new field that's coming out. Judith Glaser has written a book called Conversational Intelligence. It's very much like humble inquiry. And that principle says there's different levels of conversational intelligence. There's one level, which is just data exchange. Hey, you know, they changed the passcode on the fire station. What is it? Data. Just data. Doesn't carry a lot of emotional content. But then there's listening to accept or reject. That stimulates threat in people. When you're asking people, you come in with an agenda and you're asking an evaluative question to get to know what they're saying, and you're mentally preparing yourself to counter their argument, their mirror neurons kick in and they go, hey, this person's trying to get the best of me. And they react in threat mode. You get less trust, you get less cooperation, less collaboration. So when you ask a question and you have an agenda, when you ask a question and you're trying to decide whether you agree with the person or not, the minute you inject judgment into that of any kind, whether it's, even if you're going to accept it, the person feels evaluated and it triggers a state of threat in that person. And now you've got to deal with that all over again. So what she proposes, like humble inquiry, she says, level 3 listening is listening to connect. When you listen to connect, you're truly deeply listening to the person. You're listening to see, what do we have in common? How can we connect? And when you're listening without that judgment piece, people connect with you. They resonate with you. It's a very, very different kind of listening. It was very difficult for me to make that adjustment. I still don't do it perfectly, but I will tell you, when I shifted and started working on that particular skill, I had a huge evolution in my relationships with certain people at work that I had found difficult. Suddenly, they would smile at me, they would talk with me. It was much, much easier for me to connect with them because I had dropped my judgment.